First item on the agenda is public participation. Mr. Mayo or Mr. Gill, did you get any public participation?
No, we did not. Not prior to the meeting.
Oh, okay. It would be important we get it before the meeting. All right. Next item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes of May 21st. Hopefully everybody had a chance to take a look at them.
No movement, Mr. Chairman.
That was Dennis. Do I have a second?
Second.
Who was that? Was that Brian?
That was Brian. I got in there first.
All right. Oh, Don just joined us. Welcome,
Hello.
Don. All right. Any discussion on the minutes of the 21st? Hearing none. Again, everybody who's present, I will assume is voted in favor unless I see something that says no. Anybody voting against the minutes? That would be unanimous. Oh, Doug Butler just came in. Welcome, Doug. Let me mark him down.
Hi, all.
Hey, Doug.
Doug. Okay. Next on the agenda after the minutes are the reserve fund transfers. So everybody should have got the spreadsheet that had those various transfers. And I'm assuming that Mr. Gill will go through those.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm going to say a couple of opening remarks, then turn it over to Kevin.
Okay.
Kevin and I are actually very pleased with this year's amount, $174,100. Last year was $270,000, so departments did a great job. In most instances, or in many instances, we've looked at some of these budgets have already been increased in areas that are chronically overdrawn going forward for fiscal year 21. The one area that we missed was Dennis Hogan's favorite area, which is the law library. The last few years, we've had a reserve fund for that. Next year, keep us honest and make sure we increase that budget because that is something that is ongoing. It is the town's law library and it is the town's property, and it is very important that we have these items going forward because actually we're getting a lot, needs to be updated. We're getting a lot more municipal questions, as you can imagine. And Tom Mullen uses them a lot, particularly the 4 volumes of mass practice, which is related to municipal law. And it is nice to have the updated on the paper copies. Plus part of and this is also covers Westlaw. So other than the law library increase of $6,850, which we will increase in next year's budget, most of these others were just items that came in because of either audits or more students at the voc. And I would ask that we take them all in a consent vote at the end, if you wish, and might be a little bit easier. So I'll turn that over to Kevin now to go through them individually.
Okay. Under the legal department, we have actually 2 transfers that we need to do. The first one is for $38,850. This has to do with the lawsuit that the town's involved with up on Butler Ave. We did this one last year. Last year, I think it was over $131,000 that we looked for. This year, we're looking for $38,850. And we did receive some insurance money this year with regards to some insurance policies that we had at the time. That totaled about $16,000. So the first item is the $38,850 for outside professional services. And as Steve has mentioned, under the books and publications, the town's legal library, we're looking for $6,850.
Okay, thank you, Kevin. Any questions from the group?
Yeah, this is Jim. I have one question.
Go ahead.
Yeah, just wondering if if you can divulge anything, where does it stand, the lawsuit? Moving along, stand still, anything like that?
Part of it required some work to be done by the Department of Environmental Protection, DEP. The COVID thing really slowed them down for this whole spring. You note it was on the town meeting agenda in case we hit a settlement. We've got to go back now that we have some information back from the DEP and see what we can do on it. It's possible that this will be on the November town meeting one way or another. Possible.
Thank you.
But it's not all that rosy either.
No. Anybody else? Any other questions on the legal? Okay, seeing none. Vocational schools.
Yes, next budget, reserve fund transfers for the vocational school budget. We need $47,000. We have 3 additional students up at Essex North. When we did the budget last year, there was 1 student that graduated, leaving us 2 known students there. I projected 1 more student getting into the school for a total of 3. We ended up with 6. Speaking with the administration up there, where we're considered out of district, it's very difficult to get in if you're out of district. They only take so many out of district students. So when I anticipated 1 additional student for a total of 3, we ended up with 6. And that's a number that we really don't know until the first day of school. So well after the budget's already been set.
Okay, thank you. Any questions on the vocational schools? Doug, go ahead.
Yeah, just, I know we don't know what it's going to be in advance, but do we have a sense of sort of what grade the people are in so we can get a sense of like, oh, are they, you know, again, if they were seniors who were being transferred over, it's one thing, but if it's a first grader who is being transferred in for a very expensive thing, we should be able to track that.
Yes, yes. And that's what, when I did the budget this year, there was 1 student graduating, leaving 2 actual students still in the school for another year or 2. I anticipated 1 more student getting in. So when we did that budget, I budgeted 3 students.
Okay.
Because like I said, it's very difficult to get in if you're out of district. They do some type of lottery up there. And for 3 students, it was like actually hitting the lottery, hitting Mega Millions, that we ended up with 3 there this year.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Essex North is not so much a question. It's more just a question of out of district placement. So like, I know we have a couple that are like, you know, comfortably in the 30s and 40s and 50s of thousands of dollars a year each.
Right.
And
Well, these are high school kids.
these are high school. Yeah, no, I know.
Okay, very good. I have one question for Doug. Is that a Pilsner?
No, it would be a no alcohol beer. No, it's a Sierra Summerfest.
Ah, okay. Very good.
Highly enough, although
Very
if
good.
it was a typical meeting, I could easily make it through 3 or 4 without batting enough. I will refrain from that for decorum purposes.
Okay, any other questions on the vote? Okay, seeing none. Welcome, Joe. Good to have you here.
Thank you.
Next up is unemployment.
Unemployment, we're looking for a reserve fund transfer of $10,000. I don't think we're going to need that, but as we stand right now, we haven't received a bill from the state for the past 3 months. So we haven't received April, May, and June's bill yet. We currently have $23,000 left in the account. But with this COVID-19 and people filing for unemployment, I just don't know what we're going to see for a bill. So I wanted to be on the safe side, not end up with a deficit in this account at year end. If this money is transferred in there and it's not needed, it just closes back out to the general fund. So I'm just being conservative, asking for $10,000.
Okay, questions on the unemployment? Don't all jump at once. Okay. Board of Appeals.
Board of Appeals, looking for $1,500. The cost of advertising has gone up. That ran over a little bit this year. And I do want to point out that we did increase this budget slightly for fiscal '21.
Okay.
And
Any questions?
actually, that budget going over is actually a good thing if those projects got approved, because then they're built upon, and you know, the money's coming in for the building permit fees and the extra taxation. So that's not exactly a bad thing when that happens.
Agreed. Any questions on the Board of Appeals? Seeing none. Next up, professional medical.
Professional medical, we're looking for $5,300. The main reason for that is the cost of hiring new police. I think we had 7 in the pipeline this year. 2 washed out, leaving 5, but all 7, they went through physicals and psychological exams. And we usually don't see those type of numbers every year. So that's why that ran over this year, looking for $5,300.
What's a normal year?
Right around $8,000 to $10,000.
No, I mean, number of police.
1 or 2.
Oh, okay. Okay. Any other questions on the professional medical? Okay. Next up, general insurance.
Next one, general insurance. I'm not sure if you all remember, John Spinello came in and was speaking on his 2 budgets that he helps us with, the general insurance and the workers' comp. On each of them, we had mentioned we were going to need reserve fund transfers. Under the general insurance, we're looking for $14,800. And this is due to additional vehicles added to the policies and slightly higher than budgeted rates. When John gives us his budget, it's with his estimates, and that's usually in the late January timeframe. He actually doesn't get the rates until sometime in June. So rates came in a little bit higher. So we're looking for $14,800.
Okay. Any questions on the insurance?
Yes, Dan, Dennis. What were the additional vehicles? I know we got the 2 parking clerks, the pet car to go around, but where were the other vehicles that could add up onto the policy increase?
I think he said they were from DPW.
All right, so do we have to insure the light department under this general insurance, or do they have their own?
They have their own.
Okay. Any other questions on the insurance? Seeing none. Next up is the animal control.
Yeah, this is for a salary, looking for $3,000. We needed additional coverage when Kenny Stake, the animal control officer, he had some mandatory training he had to do. So this was basically to cover when he was out. So we're looking for $3,000.
Questions on that? Anybody? Okay. Workers' comp.
Workers' comp budget, we're looking for $36,800. This is for costs for higher than projected payrolls. That workers' comp is based on the town's payroll. And they come out and they audit every year. And when they audited, the actual payroll was higher than the projected. And also, John had mentioned that the rates were slightly higher than what we estimated when the budget was set.
Okay. Questions on the workers' comp? All right, seeing none.
Will this
Oh,
be
Dan?
rated back to like DPW you know, if their rates went up to water and sewer accounts and MLD and whoever for the workers.
Yes, right.
Yes.
We would charge back to, if they were related to one of the enterprise funds, we would transfer that expense over.
How about the schools? Can you transfer it over there?
I wish I could.
All right, anything else on workers' comp?
So was this for premium costs, and was it because the classifications were different than had been projected, or the salaries were just more than what we had expected?
The salaries were more than what John had put in,
Okay.
so.
All right, everybody else good? All right, and the last one is Medicare.
Medicare, looking for $10,000, and this is due to slightly higher than estimated actual payrolls. When we set the Medicare budget, you know, it's a projection. Actuals came in a little bit higher, so we're looking for $10,000.
Questions on that? Everybody's good. Okay. In terms of a motion, we're going to take this all in one package unless somebody wants to take a piece out. So I just need a motion to make these reserve fund transfers a reality.
I move, Dan, $174,100 for, as outlined by Kevin, for the reserve and to the reserve fund transfer.
Okay, that was by Joe. Do I have a second?
Second,
That was who, Joanne?
Joanne.
Thank you. Just try to keep it all straight in case we get audited. Any other discussion? I can't talk. All right, all those in favor, I should say, let me rephrase it. Anybody against this motion? Was that a no, Mr. Mayo?
No, that was a top. I would never say no to the finance committee.
All right, it's unanimous. Okay, next item is the report of the nominating committee. Is that Gerard, is that you?
I believe I'm up, Mr. Chairman. Thank you very much. It's my pleasure to report that on June 17th, the nominating committee did convene. And with a quorum, we have two recommendations for this full committee's consideration. The first name we'd like to put forth, we move that Jim Sullivan be considered by the committee to assume the role of chairman for the upcoming term.
Second.
Who is that second?
Evan.
Evan, thank you, Evan. Any discussion?
I'll just note, if it's helpful to the committee, Mr. Chairman, that once the motion was made, Jim's contributions, both in the areas of his personal understanding of some of the construction and utilities issues that face the town were noted. His service and breadth of contributions throughout the discussions and deliberations of this committee were brought into evidence for our consideration, and that's what carried the day. We trust that this committee will recognize that as a fact and give it its due consideration.
Very good, thank you. Any other discussion on the motion, or anybody want to throw another name out? Seeing none. If there are no dissenting votes, speak up now. Therefore, I will deem this a unanimous decision. Congratulations, Jim. Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
That's the stoic demeanor we like from a FinCom chairman, Mr. Sullivan.
Yeah. Just trying to start out on the right foot, yes.
Okay, so Gerard? All right, beautiful. All right, Gerard, you have somebody for vice chair.
I do. So similarly, the nominating committee would like to enter the nomination of Douglas Butler for the position of vice chair.
Second.
Is that Evan again?
Yep.
Ironically so. So if I may continue with some discussion on the motion, Mr. Chairman.
Sure.
We did also consider Mr. Kenny in before I provide laudatory remarks on Mr. Butler's candidacy. I just wanted to mention that we as a subcommittee did want to recognize Evan's immediate and substantial contributions to the committee through his bit shorter term on the committee than Doug's. But he's certainly brought his expertise in municipal management immediately into the conversation. And we look forward to his contributions as a full member of the FinCom into the future, and hope his aspirations for leadership do not expire with this current candidacy.
Listen, I'm all for the Sullivan Butler ticket, so don't worry about it.
Very good. Any other discussion on Doug, or anybody else want to throw a name out there? Seeing none. Again, if there's no dissenting votes, I will declare this unanimous. Congratulations, Doug.
My thanks to the subcommittee, if I may, Mr. Chairman. Both Brian and Dennis, and the minutes of the meeting are now on file with Ms. Dalton.
Very good. As long as we're on this subject of...
I forgot about the laudatory comments, apparently. But,
Res ipsa loquitur, Doug. Res ipsa.
As long as we're on the topic of positions and so forth in our reorganization, I thought I just might highlight a couple things. One is that there are 5 people who are up for this year. Doug, Jan, Amy, Peter, and Don. Your terms expire officially on June 30th. So Jim, you get to have the fine tradition of harassing our town moderator to get his act together and start the process of contacting people and advertising and so forth. So I'd also like to say at this point that Jan has decided to not re-up for another 3-year term. I wanted to thank her for her contributions. I believe 2 terms, 6 years of great work, volunteering to help us out and go through town hall budgets and so forth, and participated with great integrity. And we really appreciate the fact that she spent 6 years with us, but she's decided that time constraints are a little bit too much and is moving on. And I don't know if Jan, if you wanted to say anything, go ahead.
I just wanted to thank everybody. I've had the privilege of working with most of you, and I have enjoyed my 6 years and serving for the town. So thank you to everyone.
And I'll give a round of applause for Jan's service.
and Jan, as the person who sat next to you the whole time, like, you know, does my moving seats now make you reconsider staying on?
Unfortunately, no.
All right, very good. So anyway, so Jim, yeah, your first order of business is start to hassle Mr. Carroll. Let's see.
Yeah, I was looking at the list and I was looking forward to that. And now that I have a good second chair like Doug, we'll have to reevaluate.
Very good. Okay, any committee comments? Anything else anybody wants to throw out there? And
No, if I may, I just want to say thank you, Dan, for your leadership. I think it's been, has it been 2 terms or?
This was my second term. The first one was like a 4-year term.
Right. So I appreciate it. I did feel kind of obligated to step up and do my time, if you would. But I did just want to say thank you for your time and your effort in the leadership role. So thank you.
All right.
Here.
And yeah, I look forward to working, with this group and for this group. So there's plenty of work to do, and I'll need everybody's help. So thank you.
Yeah, the coming year is going to be a challenge for all of us.
Yeah.
Anything else on committee comments?
I had just one since Pete wasn't here, and probably best directed to Steve, but I think today was supposed to be the day the state released the school opening considerations.
Yeah,
plans.
yeah, they did. They did.
So I missed it, I've returned to the office. So I'm just wondering if it perhaps we take it offline, but if there are some initial thoughts,
No, I can,
subcommittee- yeah, go ahead, please.
yeah, I can give you Commissioner Riley asked the school department to be ready for three different synopsises or three different items in the fall or whenever that's going to be. Item A, be prepared to have all students return. Item B, be prepared for a hybrid situation where some are in, some are out. And C, be prepared for continued social learning. So the school department has until August 1st to put all this together with not a lot of guidance other than they seem to be saying desks need to be 3 feet apart now, not 6, which has been what you see in restaurants. We'll be working very closely with the school department, especially to see what we can do to outfit them and to secure the funds through a couple of federal and state areas that we can. It's really not a lot more guidance than we had a week ago. Sorry.
Yeah.
If they were from Georgetown, they would have done that stuff better. What can I tell you?
I see Evan's hand
Don't
is
bet
up.
on that, Steve.
I know, Joe. I wore this for you.
Yeah, if I'd have known, I'd have my Nova outfit on.
Yeah, I just want to.
Yeah,
I'm
go
sorry,
ahead.
Mr. Chairman. I just want to actually quickly echo the commendations of your performance here as chairman and of your service on FinCom. You've really been a remarkable chairman, and I've stayed markedly quiet over the past few meetings while you've been asking some really tough, good questions, doing the hard work, the thankless work, sometimes the controversial work that you've been doing. Asking questions that some folks don't want to deal with, and I think you've done a great service to the taxpayers of Wakefield by dumping in a lot of unpaid hours into what you do here, and you've been a great leader at the same time. So no pressure, Jim. You got some big shoes to fill, but I did want to speak up at the end of this fiscal year and say thank you to Dan, because it hasn't always been a smooth ride the past few months, and
No.
you've done it really well.
Thank you. On that note, though, I should say that some of those questions are still unanswered, but some have been answered. And I've shared some more analysis with the school budget with the school subcommittee. I don't know that they've spread it to the rest of the group, but I did some analysis on their schools' contracts that they have signed. And I've been able to determine why their payroll increases are as large as they are, and also why they're going to continue to be large increases for the next couple of years because of the contracts that were sold. So maybe what I'll do is I'll share that analysis with everybody when we're done with this meeting. So thank you, Evan. Anything else before this committee?
I hasten to ask one more question. Do we have a new member present on this meeting that deserves introduction, or is?
Mr. Howell has actually put his name and his hat in the ring this past spring, and I encouraged him to stay in touch, in terms of what we're doing and how we're doing, and I'm glad to see he's on. And since we now know that Jan is going to get off, we know that we have at least one empty spot. So I'm hoping Mr. Howell put his name back in the ring when we advertise for the people who expires terms are 2020. So that's why he's here.
Well, then
I assume.
I thank Mr. Howell for substantially moving up our average attendance then.
I thought he was billing us.
Thank you all. It was a pleasure participating as well and observing you all.
Very good. Anything else before the committee? If not, I will entertain.
Can I say one thing? One thing, Dan?
One thing? All right.
One thing. I want to, on behalf of Kevin and myself, number one, we want to thank Jan for her service. She worked very closely with us on the town hall budgets, and she and her committee had very, insightful questions and actually made those budgets better and crisper. So we do thank you for your all your service, Jan, and congratulations on having a high school senior this year. I know it was kind of a tough tough time for the seniors to go through, but it was nice to see that. And Dan, I want to thank you again on behalf of Kevin and myself, particularly myself, for working so closely and hard with us. And you were always there and always available. And I think we're in the position that we are as a community because of you and because of the rest of the finance committee. I think we're the envy of a lot of people around us because we are in that position. So just wanted to thank you for all your time, and we're still going to bother you and call you, so you're not getting off that easy. And does Doug Butler know that usually the new incoming vice chair buys drinks for everybody? So we'll have to remember that.
Here, here.
Next time we're together.
Just come on
Yeah.
down.
Take some for us there, Doug, huh?
Yeah, you can space out 6 feet apart around the lawn.
Well, Joanne just joined us. All I got is water. I need to go the Doug approach.
Although looking at Joanne, I don't think those are palm trees in Wakefield behind her.
You're muted, Joanne. You're muted.
Sorry about that. Yeah, I didn't think you could see the palm trees, but down in Florida, it wasn't hot enough up in Boston, so I came seeking higher humidity and more heat. And apparently more coronavirus as well, so.
Oh, I do have one follow-up question to town meeting. How long before how long do people have to put together a signature to put the public safety building article out to town-wide vote?
12 calendar
days.
days.
12
How many?
12
12
days.
days?
Yeah,
12
calendar days, yeah. June
All right, so
2nd, I
July
believe.
2nd?
Excuse me, July 2nd.
Yeah, all right, so the clock is, all right, so celebrations on July 3rd when there's no request for a vote.
There's a petition going online.
There is.
Yes,
That was shot down roundly on Facebook.
it really was.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. There must have been 30 comments and not one was a positive.
Good.
But I'm not even sure, Steve, that's an issue that, I mean, is that an appropriate thing? Actually, just today I was looking, the U.S. Supreme Court shot.
I would not say too much, Joe.
Oh, I just talking about, I'm just saying. There was a case that came down today from the Supreme Court on the issue of electronic signatures. That's all I'll say. How's that?
That sounds good. Don't say too much.
All right.
I'll be back on July 3rd, so in case anybody wants to make some more specific plans.
Yeah, that's when Doug will buy the beers, right?
I'll be knocking on his door.
Good.
Sadly, those fireworks people aren't doing it up this year, so we're gonna have to figure something else out.
Yeah. Okay, anything else?
Move adjournment, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
That was Gerard and Joanne. All those in favor, hang up or turn off Zoom and have a great summer.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dan.
Thank you, everybody.
You're welcome.